Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Baldy_OD, and today's video I just want to talk about some of Zangief's, like how Zangief does against whole Street Fighter 6 cast. Now I'm not gonna lie, I need to make a separate one for Ed because actually no, I'm just gonna leave Ed out because honestly I have not played enough Ed to give a proper assessment on him. I feel like the matchup isn't the worst thing ever though. It's kind of annoying dealing with like his jump-ins a little bit, and his fireball can be kind of rough to deal with, but overall it's really not that bad. I'm gonna go from like best matchups to worst matchups. So I'm gonna start off with the one character I think we actually don't do that bad against, and it's Honda. Honestly, I don't think Honda's all that bad. Mainly for the sheer fact of like dealing with headbutt is like really easy. Same thing for butt slam. Like most of the time you can either lariat or like use standing heavy punch and it's gonna beat it out. And even this in the neutral, it's not all that bad. He doesn't do like super crazy damage, and he doesn't have anything like really that gimmicky or like that hard to deal with, because you know we can armor through his like most gimmicky stuff. So it's really not that bad. It's a matchup full of whiff punishing, and it's really patient, but it could definitely be worse. Another one I would say is actually really good, but not enough to put it in this, in my opinion, is Cammy. I think Cammy is like hard. It's definitely well, let me rephrase that. It's definitely a like difficult matchup, especially it's kind of hard to deal with like her like really suffocating pressure, especially once she like gets started and she has you in the corner doing throw loops, you know, just making you like guess high for like hooligan mix-ups and stuff like that. But like really in the neutral and like dealing with her stuff like the dive kicks, it's honestly not that bad. And thankfully, like say she wants to do her like normal burnout pressure string, you can SPD that, which is pretty nice because that's very big damage. I think you can like always heavy SPD it. It's really good. And honestly, she just doesn't do like that much damage to Zangief, so like you have a lot of opportunities to honestly make mistakes, so it's really not that bad of a matchup. Next is gonna be Ryu. I think Ryu is not that bad. One nice thing about the Ryu matchup in particular is that like if a Ryu is fireballing you close range, but like you don't have the time to do a level 2, or like you don't really think don't really think a lariat is gonna hit, you can use a standing medium punch, and that's gonna trade like pretty easily, so that's not gonna be a problem at all. And honestly, just like dealing with like his block strings and like just general pressure is really not that hard, because like he just plays basic like Shotos, but he doesn't have that crazy like corner carry or unfair damage like Lucan can have. So honestly, it's really not that bad. And like sometimes, unlike those other two, he just has to like straight up stop his pressure to like go for a Denjin, or like if he goes for a Denjin, he like gives you time to walk in, so that makes things not as hard either. A next one is probably, I want to say, Rashid. Rashid's not that bad, cause it's like most of the like mix-up stuff he wants to do, specifically with his fireballs, you can lariat, so that's not that bad. And then honestly, the neutral is not that hard. Like most of Zangief's buttons deal with like Rashid's buttons. He wants to use in the neutral pretty well. The only like really bad thing from this matchup, honestly, is like dealing with Yasar, his level 2, and like the fact that if he blocks his crouching heavy kick, if he does his standing heavy kick, it'll beat it out, I think, every single time if they're ready for it. So that's pretty hard. But overall, it's not that bad, and specifically on Wake Up, you can like, you know, EX or charge fireballs and stuff like that, so he can't get away with doing stuff like that nearly as much. And I think you can even level 2 a pretty good chunk of like his level 2 setups, so that's also not bad. Another character that I say is probably even is DJ. Honestly, just the DJ matchup in general is really not that hard. Like if you block his DP, you get a really huge jumping heavy kick punish that's like specific to DJ and a few other characters. His buttons against Gief are kind of meh. Gief is able to deal with his drive rush pretty well, so that's not really an issue. And like his firewalls are slow enough to where if a Gief were to get a good jump, realistically, the DJ either can like you can either hit the DJ, or like it's pretty hard for him to just actually anti-air, specifically if he does like the heavy one. So that's really not that bad. And then like he can't really go for like super crazy stuff. Like he can't do his like sway mix up as easily with other characters because Gief can just SVD him. Obviously there's like, you know, layers to that, but just the fear of an SVD does definitely make it to where the DJ has to think a little bit more than normal. Especially since the nerfs that he had to the sway makes it a lot easier. Next, ooh, honestly I don't even know. Probably gonna have to go Guile. Honestly, all I can really say about this matchup is like being in the court against Guile, it's not that bad, and dealing with fireballs is really not that bad because of like standing heavy punch. Especially if you drive rush it, the armor goes through it, it trades pretty well and beats it. Level 2 overall hits his fireballs pretty decent, and it's not that hard for Gief to deal with like his crouching medium kick. So that's honestly not the worst thing ever. Really, you just need to watch out for fireball drive rush. That's like the worst part of this matchup, and just like generally getting in. But that's kind of just a grapple life in general, to be honest. Let's see. Next up, I think we're gonna have to go with Aki. Honestly, I don't think Aki's all that bad. She can't do meaty fireballs very easily because we can lariat it. Her anti-air is pretty. Her anti-air like DP motion honestly kind of sucks because it has the same problem that lariat has, where it's frame 6 invul, so it can just get stuffed out on like startup and stuff, which is pretty bad. And then it's also pretty easy to do throw loop pressure on her, specifically because like her reversal just straight up loses to throws. So like throw looping this character is pretty nice, and then her defense in general isn't all that good. And I think her level 1 is actually slow enough to where like certain meaty setups you can actually block in time, so that's pretty rough. But overall, just dealing with her is not that bad at all. I think the worst thing to deal with in this matchup is like specifically Akis that use her light whip very often, and like are good with fireball drive rushing and don't like don't overextend or do anything stupid with it. So it can be hard, but it's not impossible. Is there any other characters I put in even? Probably gonna go with I think I'll go with Kimberly. Yeah. I play Shine this one set. There's like the way he plays against Gief makes this matchup feel way worse, and it's literally just like only doing standing heavy kick and neutral and just waiting. But like that's kind of just like that's not every Kimberly, so I'm not really gonna consider it too much. But like if a Kimberly does want to play really slow, the matchup is definitely a lot harder. Like it gets rough. But overall, it's honestly not all that bad. She's one of the few characters you can safe jump with lariat. Well, if she doesn't like EX her like Tatsu move or whatever. Her defense isn't all that good, like because her level 1 is kind of slow, doesn't really do crazy damage, and she also doesn't have a DP, which is really nice. Her damage is really not all that good unless she gets the meter. And then also on top of that, her corner pressure is like it's hard to deal with. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not impossible, so you can definitely interact with it. And if you guess right, I mean, realistically, you can like back throw or go for a strike throw mix up. Another thing that I need to mention, her drive rush stuff is really not that hard to deal with Gief because you can stand medium punch it, you can SVD it. Really the only thing you have to worry about in this matchup is drive rush like crouching light kick or like drive rush crouching light punch. Those are like actually really hard to check, but everything else is honestly not all that bad. It could be way worse. Okay, let's see, another one. Probably gonna go Marissa. Marissa's hard. Like she just does so much damage, and like her pressure 9 out of 10 times loops into itself, so it's really hard to like get her off you. And then if you just like it's so hard like with punishing Gladius, even if you're watching out for it, because of how active it is. And then it's just like, it's also kind of like hard to what's what I'm looking for, like her kind of like dealing with her on wake up can be a little tricky, because like her like stance, if she exits, it's frame 1. Obviously you can throw it. That's one nice thing about her too, that like her pressure, her defense, it's kind of bad against throws. So she's also one of those characters that's really easy to throw loop. But it's just literally her damage and just like the way her pressure is set up makes it to where if you have to play basically like perfectly on point against this character, or you're gonna get blown up and probably die in like 3 touches maybe. But it's really not an easy matchup. It's a lot of whiff punishing and like checking all the stuff she wants to do. It's pretty rough. Next, I'll probably say Jury. Jury's hard, but she's not really all that bad in my opinion, because like Gief has some ways to deal with her fireball. It's pretty easy to check her drive rush, even if she does the like drive rush standing medium kick. That's one people like to do a lot. Like anti-anchor can be pretty annoying, because her like jump ins can go cross up a pretty decent amount, kind of a pretty surprising amount. But overall, this matchup is really not all that hard. It's something like in particular I would really worry about. Obviously when she does level 2, you just gotta hold that. Honestly, hope you just gotta guess right against level 2. Her level 2 is really good, specifically in the corner. Yeah, it's rough to deal with her level 2, I will say that much. But outside of that, it could definitely be worse. It's not very bad. Next, I would probably say Jamie. Jamie's hard for the sole fact of like 9 out of 10 times he just gets to drink for free, and you just gotta hold it, and you know, just gotta call it a day. Just how it is. It's really hard to deal with Jamie in like level 3, level 4, mainly because of his command grab. His command grab makes things a lot harder to deal with. And then he has like really good meaties to like do a strike throw with. Like I know he can do like meaty stand medium punch into doing a meaty command grab and stuff like that. It's hard to deal with his sweep. That's hard to deal with. His standing medium kick also has like no hurt box. That hurt box, I don't know where the hurt box is on that move, but it's really hard to whiff punish. And also in the corner now, it's definitely harder to deal with him, thanks to like the new buffs he got. Because he has the drink after a throw, and then he's like +7 go for a standing medium kick like every single time. It's really not easy, and also he does pretty solid damage. Like it's definitely easy to get caught by Jamie, so you just gotta watch out for that stuff. Although it's not the worst thing ever, because again he can take drive rush. He actually can do like the big stand heavy kick, the big jump heavy kick. My bad. Punish on his DP. And like really, Jamie for a long time doesn't really do too much damage, so that's not an issue. And then it's also like if he were to say, I don't know, he can definitely do unsafe drinks. Like one thing you want to do in this matchup is to like forward heavy kick him drinking if you think like he's in range, or like if you have the time to do it, because most of the time it'll hit, because there's quite a bit of an leg on the drink. Next, I feel like it's probably Manon. I think Manon's honestly pretty hard, mainly for the sole fact of like it's so hard to whiff punish this character, specifically her like stand heavy kick. Her stand heavy kick can be hard to whiff punish. Her crouching medium kick is hard to whiff punish. Her crouching medium punch is a really good like buffer to like try to catch someone like poking in neutral, which can be big damage. And then she also just has pretty scary strike throw, specifically when she gets like level 5 drinks, because honestly it's not that hard to get level 5 drinks with her, so long as you can like not level 5 drinks, well, level 5 medals with her, because then all she really needs to do is just like hit you, and then she can do the hit grab, and then she can build up medals. It's also really scary to parry against her. Not like I really wouldn't recommend parrying against her a lot of the time. That can be hard to deal with. But there's also one thing that makes this matchup really hard, and that is specifically her like standing overhead. Her standing overhead is so hard to deal with, and it's really not that easy to whiff punish. Like, I think I can maybe count on one hand the amount of times I've whiff punished that move. That's not with a super. It's very hard to whiff punish it, and like she would have to be point blank for you to punish it already. So that's a hard move to deal with. And sure, as Zangief, you can drive impact most of her Oki after a throw, but if she just like dashes forward, does a command grab, or you know, drive rushes, stand medium punch into to a counter DI, that can make it hard to deal with. So I don't think this matchup's like very easy, but it definitely could be worse. Let's see. I think next is probably Blanca. I don't think the Blanca matchup is that bad, but it's pretty annoying dealing with like his Oki for like dolls, and then it can be pretty tricky dealing with like good Blanca balls. But honestly, the worst part is dealing with like his crouching medium punch. Crouching medium punch is like really hard to deal with, and then like if he does like his forward heavy punch, that's also like, that move has crazy range, and it's decently safe even if he's like kind of closer, because I think he can like do his like little like down and 2 punches move into like whatever he wants right there. But yeah, no, it's mainly just like hard to deal with like the Oki on, like his like throw Oki and like his corner Oki. He can have some crazy mix-ups too, but it's not the worst thing ever. But what really makes his matchup hard is like whenever he gets level 2, which he gets level 2 a lot, so that's also hard to deal with. Because it's like he gets to do Blanca balls really easily, and then he can set up really easily after most straight hits. And then even if you do parry it, there's a good chance he can just like stop it short and then like throw you afterwards, so that's hard to deal with. But it's not the worst matchup ever. You kind of just gotta like watch out for whiff punishing, and then like make sure once you're in on him, you gotta like capitalize what to do. Let's see, next it's probably Chun-Li. I unironically only have like two words for this matchup. Well, actually 3. Crouching medium kick. That move literally makes this matchup so much harder than it needs to be. It is actually insane. Don't get me wrong, it's annoying to deal with like air legs, but crouching medium kick literally gives her like everything she could ever ask for. It is so good for her. Like, and also another thing, her pressure after like say level 2, or like after she gets level 2 hit, is really good. That's also something that you gotta be careful for, which she can also get that off of a crouching medium kick. Her fireball is also like surprisingly annoying to deal with, because it's weird. Sometimes it's hard to tell when it's gonna like actually like not hit you or not, because like it kind of like it very vaguely fades away, but then it also doesn't really have that much recovery, and her anti-air button is like what, down insert kick, so that's also like really easy to anti-air with. And even then, if she like if it's a bad jump in, she could do her standing heavy kick, which that one does a bunch of damage. I think it's like at least like 20 to 30% if she does it right, so that's hard to deal with. But her just general her general corner pressure is just hard to deal with. But it could be worse. She doesn't have a throw loop, which is really big, and like honestly, her defense isn't like super crazy even with air legs, because I mean, while air legs is good, don't get me wrong, it still loses the like, you know, meaty normals. It just beats throws really well. Let's see, I think these guys are gonna be the last 2 I'd put in like losing. Ken, it's mainly just like he's hard specifically because he puts you in the corner so easily, but like really his neutral buttons and stuff are not that good in my opinion. Like standing heavy kick is whatever, his crouching medium kick is good, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like in the ranges Ken likes to play in, it's a lot easier to whiff punish his crouching medium kick than other characters. And then his fireball has more recovery than others, which is also something that's pretty nice. It makes it to where like you can interact with him more often, and you can also do the fireball trick with Ryu with Ken, and it works just as effective, so that's nice. The worst part is definitely dealing with like throw loops and just like general corner pressure. It's not that hard to deal with Jinrai, because if you're able to parry like the low hit of it, you can get an SVD for free, like basically every single time, unless he like spaces it out like perfectly. But that's really realistically not gonna happen. So that's nice to do. He can't really do meaty fireball stuff, but like honestly, like a lot of kids don't do meaty fireball stuff to begin with, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, overall this one's not all too hard. It's kind of just like, it's just a difficult showdown matchup, and plus you get pretty big punishes on his what is it, on his supers too, so that's nice. Luke, honestly, Luke is, in my opinion, is really hard to deal with, because like you can't like really interact with Sandblast very well. Thankfully he doesn't have Fireball Drive Rush with it, but it is still a really good firewall. But it's just his pressure in the corner is it's so good, and then his damage is insane. Even after the nerfs, I still think his crouching medium punch is like better than it's just better than the rest. Like it's actually just built, it's no joke, built different. His damage is ridiculous and it's easy. Like the list can really go on. It's not the hardest matchup, but it's definitely tough, and it's very uphill no matter what you do. And also his crouching medium kick is also really good, and he gets either like a strike throw or meaty or corner carry and all that stuff with it if he wants. So it's just hard. Now this may be a bit of a controversial take, but this is just my opinion, as most matchup target lists are. I honestly think that JP is like 4-6. It's not 3-7. Okay, this matchup is hard. It definitely is. I'm not denying that. It's the hardest matchup in this entire tier. But with the changes to Amnesia, and then with his crouching heavy punch being easier to anti-air, it is a lot easier to fight this character than before. And on the fact of, if you like parry a portal spike, you get positive meter. It makes it so much easier to deal with this character. Like, don't get me wrong, it's hard, especially like getting in and dealing with the spikes. The spikes are probably the hardest part of this matchup. But thankfully for Gief, he can like say JP wants to like abuse his standing heavy punch, or like do standing heavy punch into Ghost or whatever. Gief can stand heavy punch back, and it's gonna beat, I think it can beat every option except drive impact, I think. And even then, if you do it instantly, you might be able to beat it, but I haven't tested that. But it's really not that bad. It's pretty easy to whiff punish like certain normals, and like if a JP jumps in on you, most of the time you can lariat. If you see him teleporting out of a portal, you can either like OD SBD on a read, or you can like do what I like to do, jump back light kick, and that puts him in like a forced knockdown, and you can just go for a strike throw right after that. But it's really not all that bad. It was definitely worse last patch. I think it was 3-7 last patch, but with the stuff Gief has this patch to now, it's not the worst thing ever. Also, you can safe jump him, which is also a thing that's really nice to do. So it's like once you do get in on him, you can definitely keep the pressure going. It's really not that bad. Let's see next. Okay, this character is like, I don't even want to begin. This character, it feels like they specifically designed all of her normals in like all of her specials to deal with Zangief like really easily. Her crouching medium punch is impossible to whiff punish. Her standing medium punch, that thing doesn't have a hurt box. Condor Spire is like no joke impossible to deal with unless you use level 1 or perfect parry, because Lariat beats it. I mean, Lariat loses to it, just hard loses to it. She has like actual like loopable Oki. She gets to do her wind stocks for free. She does pretty decent damage, even though it's not the craziest. And it's just like playing neutral against this character is an actual nightmare. It's the roughest thing ever, and like a lot of the times you just have to either get lucky or just be better than a Lily player, honestly, because this is it's a really hard matchup. I unironically get nightmares against this character. She's so hard to deal with. And then, I mean, of course, Dhalsim. Dhalsim's definitely probably the worst matchup Gief has. Hard to deal with his fireballs. It's hard to chase him down with because of his teleport. His normals are honestly, like, you can see them and try to whiff punish, but it pretty amount of time doesn't work. It's easy to whiff punish, like, say, what is it, standing medium kick and like crouching heavy punch, but his other stuff is not that easy to deal with. And then it's like with the way his fireballs are like designed, with the way they move, it makes it to where like Gief basically cannot jump when a fireball's out on screen, because he can aim fire like really easily. Because like Dhalsim can basically just anti-air him anywhere on the screen, at whether that's with his standing heavy kick, far range, his what is it, down forward heavy punch, also anywhere on the screen. But even if you do like a closer jump in, he uses crouching medium punch, not crouching medium punch, his back medium punch. His back medium punch is really good. And then he can like do, what is it, like that heavy yoga flame, which you can't drive impact out or anything, so that's hard to deal with. The only real saving grace of this matchup is that you can do normal Gief pressure pretty easily, I want to say, but that's mainly because like his level 1 only like is, I think, throw invincible, and you can also EX Lariat his level 2, thankfully, so that's not the worst thing ever to deal with. But overall, this matchup, it's really hard. Honestly, you could be, you know, you could have like 5,000 hours on Zangief and you can still just get worked by a Dhalsim if they play a certain way. But it's not like impossible, but you definitely gotta work way harder in this matchup more than any other one, and you have to be really patient, and you just gotta be prepared to just like sometimes either walk them down and be super patient and have like a really long game, or be like super offensive and like hope that the Dhalsim does like bad options on defense, or like makes or doesn't do proper reads, so then you end up like winning the game. There is one thing I will say though, is that compared to Street Fighter 5, this matchup's way better. Street Fighter 5 Zangief versus Dhalsim, it was at least for my personal experience, it was one of the worst matchups I've ever played in a fighting game. It was so bad. It was horrible. But anyways, this is my matchup chart. This is all my subjective opinion, obviously. If you guys have any opinions or disagree, let me know. I'm open for a discussion. And that's really all I got for this video. See you guys later.